booming heavens roar. You'll behold in breathless wonder the God of thunder, mighty Thor.
I 1960'erne havde tegneserieselskabet Marvel stor succes med mange af deres nyopdigtede figurer, deriblandt Hulk og Spider-Man, og også tordenguden Thor, som fik sin helt egen tegneserie baseret på de gamle fortællinger fra oldnordisk mytologi. Selvom Thor aldrig var helt lige så populær som sine fiktive kollegaer, så var det blot et spørgsmål om tid, før en storslået Hollywood-filmatisering blev skruet sammen. Og efter flere årtiers løse rygter og mislykkede projektopstarter, har den første Thor spillefilm om sider biografpremiere herhjemme ganske passende på torsdag, dagen der er opkaldt efter den aggressive gud.
For through your arrogance and stupidity, you have opened these peaceful realms and innocent lives to the horror and devastation of war.
You are a vain, greedy, cruel boy.
You are an old man and a fool!
You're unworthy!
Father.
And now take from you your power! And I cast you out!
Vi var i London for at tale med Kenneth Branagh, filmens instruktør, samt filmens 2 hovedrolleindehavere, Tom Hiddleston, som spiller den sleske Loke, og Chris Hemsworth, der har titelrollen, og som virkelig gjorde sig bemærket i J.J. Abrams' Star Trek forrige år, hvor han spillede kaptajn James T. Kirks far. Men vi lægger ud med vores lille chat med Kenneth Branagh. Den garvede instruktør var allerede som ung et hit på Englands skrå brædder, hvor han medvirkede i talrige Shakespeare-stykker, og som 27-årig lavede han sin første spillefilm, Henry V, baseret på en af Shakespeares berømte tekster. Branagh blev også nomineret for både sit arbejde foran og bag kameraet, og siden da har han filmatiseret et væld af Shakespeare-stykker, såsom Stort Ståhej for Ingenting, og ikke mindst hans 4 timer lange og storslåede 70 mm udgave af Hamlet.
Looking at a movie like Hamlet, looking at your impressive resume, there's really nothing there to indicate that you would one day make a huge Hollywood action blockbuster filled with slow motion and explosions and all that sort of stuff. So I just have to ask, what attracted you to this kind of project?
Well, what you've just described, I think there would be nothing to indicate, and yet I knew the character, I like comics, and I go to popular movies, and all of those things were a surprise when Marvel sort of put my name on the list, and then we spoke about it, and I said, well, you know, this story appeals to me, and they also seem to see that some of my background might be appropriate for some of this material. Maybe I would not be frightened by the grandeur of the Asgard royal household, and I think they hoped also that I might bring a kind of sense of fun to it. Anyway, one way or another, I got the job, and I'm glad I did.
But was there also a part of the attraction maybe to sort of confront this image of you being the quote-unquote Mr. Shakespeare? Was that part of the attraction as well?
Well, I think you try and listen to a sort of deeper seated voice than that, that's just saying, does this story speak to you? Do you think you've got something to offer it? Do you think you'll enjoy it? Do you think you will be good at it? And sometimes you can't answer all those questions. And with something like this, it was also wrapped up in, can you handle that challenge? Can you handle that many things? Can you handle 3D visual effects? Can you create all those worlds? Can you handle all those logistics? And that challenge was irresistible. But fundamentally, and with most things, and I hope with all the things I actually commit to, you are listening for the voice that says, does this feel right? What somebody wants to refer to as the uninformed hunch. And my hunch was this could be great. So, and in fact, you know, the most important phrase a film director could ever learn, I learned it on my first film, believe me, was, I don't know. Second most important phrase is, what do you think?
I really loved the scenes between Loki and Odin and Thor. I thought they had a real emotional intensity that really reminded me of Hamlet, actually. But were those scenes as fulfilling for you to make as the action sequences?
They were, because it seemed to me that the backbone of the story, from which all of the entertainment, all of the action, spectacle, emotion, character, drama, laughs would come, was this backbone of a family story. When I sat down with Kevin Feige in Marvel 3 years ago to talk about it, I said, I think the subtitle of this film is Fathers and Sons. And I think that unless we feel this passionate intensity between an Odin who really is, you know, was like Thor when he was a kid, so he's telling his son, don't do as do as I do as I say. And then this other brother, brilliantly talented, wonderful, emotional, warm guy, who's number 2 every time, every day, every moment. That kind of dynamic is universally recognizable. I mean, brothers who love each other and kind of hate each other, fathers who want the sons to do what they want, sons who want the father's approval but rebel, and that kind of dynamic, well written, would give great acting opportunities, and these 3 actors take them very strongly. How do you make that kind of thing work? It's the performances, truthfulness and reality, and lightness of touch in the performances.
I will destroy their kind.
You can't kill an entire race
And die with them.
It's interesting when you look at Kenneth Branagh's resume and his history, and you look at your career at this moment. When he was your age, there are so many similarities. You both won awards when you were young for Best Newcomer in the world of theatre. You both were at the RADA, at least he was for a short period.
Yes.
Do you look at him as a sort of role model?
Well, he, by the time he was my age, he'd done a lot more than I have. I think he'd made Henry V. I think he made that when he was 27. And he'd been nominated for an Oscar as an actor and director. So I'm a little behind in that respect. No, I would kill for the career that he's had. I think there's just an enormous curiosity that he has within himself, that he just wants to tell new stories, to live a really rich and broad life. And if I can do that by the time I'm his age, I'll be lucky. Yeah.
The scenes between you and Chris Hemsworth in the movie, I really loved those. I thought they had a real palpable intensity.
Oh, thank you.
Did you and Chris Hemsworth have this chemistry right from the start? And how would you describe your chemistry?
We actually get on really well, and that kind of happened from the very first day I met him. It seemed like we were suddenly being given these extraordinary toys to play with, or like we were both jumping off this incredibly high diving board together. And so on set we were always messing around, and he's just a great guy, and he's really fun and very impressive. So we kind of made each other raise our game all the time. It was good. It was fun. Yeah.
But I mean, when you look at a movie like Thor, you'd ordinarily say that it's so different from what you're doing at the theater. But aren't there also a lot of similarities in that you have to imagine the scenery most of the time?
Yes, absolutely. Acting is acting. It doesn't matter whether you're doing it on stage or on a green screen. And the sort of the engine room, if you like, of my work as an actor is my imagination. So if you're doing a Shakespeare play, or it doesn't matter where you are, you always have to imagine something, because you have to infuse something completely unreal with real emotions. And so, yeah, it just felt like we were just doing an actor's job, really, which is be true, be real, be honest, and believe.
You're big. Fought bigger.
But I mean, in your Hollywood career, which is still pretty new, you've now played a father to a kid with a father complex, and you've played a kid with a father complex.
Father complex.
Yeah. Is there something in there that interests you, or is it just a happy accident?
Look, no, both of those films I had just standing in line trying to get a job. There was nothing sort of that I necessarily said, oh, I've got problems with my dad, therefore, give me the part. My father and I have a great relationship. We certainly have similar opinions, so at times can butt heads, which was useful in this particular role. But no, I mean, I would have taken either or any of them.
Cool. And what about your relationship to your brother now? Because I mean, he auditioned for the movie as well. Are you guys okay?
No, look, we're fiercely competitive in other places, surfing and boxing and whatever we're doing growing up, but this particular business, it's a bit of a team effort. Both aware of the instability of it all, and the odds are against you. So you help each other out. And in this, both auditioning for this, we were involved at different times, and we're on the phone to each other saying, "Oh, I think Ken wanted this, or maybe this," and so it was a team effort.
But both your big Hollywood movies so far have been in the fantastical realm. Is that sort of the kind of movie that really appeals to you?
Yeah, I mean I've done, you know, 4 other films that were smaller or haven't come out yet, that weren't in a fantastical sort of realm. I certainly love that vividness of that stuff, and you know, the sense of adventure and fantasy I loved as a kid and still do. But for me, it's about, you know, playing interesting characters on any scale, whether it be a small film or something as big as this, and working with, you know, people like Anthony Hopkins and Kenneth Branagh and Natalie Portman. You know, you can guarantee it's going to be a performance-driven sort of film. And because of Marvel, it's full of the visual sort of stunning aspect as well.
And Kenneth Branagh has talked a lot about this importance of keeping the movie rooted in reality, and of course that makes sense. Isn't that difficult with a character like Thor, who's flying around and swinging a hammer like it was a boomerang?
It is on one hand, you know, as you say, when you're doing those types of things. But on the other hand, you know, the storyline followed a very human path. You know, it was about, you know, 2 sons seeking the approval of their father, and father to son sort of butting heads, and then complicated sort of romance, and you know, and you know, people asking big questions and finding their place in the world and where they fit in. And I think that certainly the story grounds it. You know, the rest of it is a colourful, vivid, interesting backdrop.
And I know you can't talk about the Avengers yet. I know you're getting asked about it a lot, but it's still so early doors. But what's your first impression of Joss Whedon?
I worked with Joss on Cabin in the Woods, and I mean, he is a true fanboy at heart, you know, and knows these comics and these stories back to front as well as anybody. I think there couldn't be anyone more equipped to write and direct this film. And he, you know, same thing, he has a passion for it and loves it. It's not a, you know, there's the visual aspect of it all, but he's a storyteller. And you know, the first draft I read, and then the ones after were just each time more and more impressive, and I was blown away that he was able to wrangle these huge characters together in some way and make a sort of believable storyline. And you know, I mean, it's epic. I don't know where we take it from there. You know, from that film, it's just sort of the pinnacle of it all.
And I just have to ask as a final question, being a huge Trekkie and loving your performance in that movie, would you ever be interested in appearing in one of the sequels? Of course, it would have to be in flashback, but would you?
Absolutely, yeah. I had a great time working on that film. It was brief. I was there for 5 or 6 days, but J.J. Abrams was incredible, and you know, if they wanted to do a flashback again, you know, then sure, I'd be involved.
Cool. I'd like to start off with a little weird request, probably the weirdest request you've ever got from a journalist, because I interviewed J.J. Abrams a couple years back, and I knew that he liked to rap on set, so I did a little rap for him.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to do exactly the same with you, but I was thinking, because I'm from Denmark, I'm from the origin place of the Norse gods.
Yeah.
So it would be an honor for me if I could get zapped by lightning from the god of thunder.
Zapped by lightning?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sure. Do I do that right now?
Yeah, exactly. So if I was thinking I'd ask you about the visual effects, and you'd go like, there's no visual effects, and then I'd be insistent and you raise your hands, and then I'll add thunderbolts in visual effects.
Let's do it. Okay,
cool.
Sure. Whenever you want to throw that in.
Cool. So about the visual effects in this movie, how were they done?
Well, there wasn't any. That was real. The summoning the lightning was just actually something that I've been able to control for many years.
The lightning?
Yeah.
That's not CGI. Are you kidding me?
No, it's real. It's real.
What?
You want? There you go. See? There you go, see?
That's awesome.
That was the worst electrocution I've seen. That
was nice, it was great.
That was more of a, it's a bit cold.
A little chilly. Cool. Well, thank you so much.